Senior military analyst, retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Leighton. Glad to have you both here. Let me begin with you, Colonel Leighton, because this has been, 3 weeks now of these drones being spotted. Why does it seem like the government is not doing more to identify or conclusively say where they're coming from?
Yeah, that's really very unsatisfactory to everybody that we've talked to so far tonight, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah.
And one of the problems that you may have with this is there could be, some kind of a test being run by the U.S. government, either a law enforcement entity or the military, and they could be testing out some new technologies. But normally, this kind of testing doesn't occur in a populated area. You take it to a place like Nevada or someplace where there's little interference, and you can figure out, whether or not the drone is functioning properly according to the parameters that you've set for it. So that's one of the big issues. If it's a foreign entity that's doing this, then of course we have a whole other set of questions to ask. And one of the things that interests me about this is the size of the drone, the reported size, like Michael was talking about, the size of a car approximately. That is pretty close to something that at least one Chinese company is putting out there. Basically, they're putting out a drone that has the size of a vehicle, and it's basically a flying car. And that's being tested, as far as I know, only in China so far. But if it's also being tested here, they would require permissions from the United States, from the FAA, to do something like that. And you would think they would tell us that they were doing that.
Assuming it's on the up and up, there would be a paper trail, but that's the question of what we're talking about. Rob, we bring you in this because the White House says that many of these reported sightings appear to be manned aircraft. But are there manned aircrafts that can evade traditional detection methods like radar or radio frequencies in helicopters?
They're not evading it. If you look at the sky at night through an app, say like Flight Radar 24, you will see there's hundreds of planes over New Jersey within an hour. Some of them are at 10,000 feet, some of them are 20,000, some are 30,000. They're all separated by altitude, but they look close together. He says that it looks like a car. Well, a plane at 9,000 feet has a different appearance than at 20,000 feet. It's hard to see at night. When I used to go to like the World Series or Super Bowl, anytime we announced that the FBI's counter drone unit was there, everyone start looking up in the sky and see planets that they've never seen before, lights that they've never seen before, and say there are drones. The hysteria that started is by people telling them to go out, and now all these senators and congressmen and other politicians going out saying, no, we demand answers. Mm-hmm. It's hard to answer the negative. When there's no drones there, it's hard to say nothing's there.
So I take you at your word about the idea that people suddenly see things because they've been aware of something for the first time. At the same token, couldn't the government say definitively one way or the other to completely ease people's minds? They seem to have a part in prolonging the entire discussion.
They've already said that the drones are not there. So the FBI they have a counter drone unit for specific events so that the drones aren't made into weapons to attack, say, like the Super Bowl. They don't regularly look at the sky. FAA does, DOD does. And when you talk about flying over Department of Defense installation, they have their own counter-drone authorities. That gentleman talked about flying a drone at Picatinny. Well, something may have happened from DOD's counter-drone unit there that he's not used to. But he shouldn't be flying towards Picatinny chasing another drone. So, again, the pictures I saw tonight over LaGuardia, they're all planes in a landing pattern that's normal. But when people see it for the first time, they end up with all the hysteria coming out. They just say it's drones.
Colonel Leighton, just to pick up on this point, what Admiral Kirby had to say was, we have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat or have a foreign nexus. Some interpret that to mean, okay, it's not that. Others say they have no evidence at this time to conclude that. How should people be viewing this?
I think we should see it from the standpoint of we have no evidence at this time to say that these things are a foreign entity or have a foreign nexus, as Admiral Kirby called it. One of the things that I would look at if I were investigating this from a government standpoint is from the standpoint of an intelligence agency. In other words, what is the possible threat if it does turn out that there are actual drones and people are not mistaking them, and they could, we were just talking about. But one of the things that you have to look at is who would be interested in flying something like this? Why would they target certain areas? Are they targeting the arsenal? Are they targeting Bedminster? Are they doing things that could potentially have a negative impact on either the leadership of the United States or the military capabilities of the United States? And if there is an entity out there that could do that, then we have to further investigate that. But right now, it's kind of murky as to what actually exists out there.
Either way, it seems the questions are not going away. Rob D'Amico, Colonel Layden, we'll see whether it's hysteria or well-founded. Thank you both. Ahead, could a burner phone hold the key to the motive of the suspected CEO killer? Investigators are certainly trying to find that out after executing a search warrant on that very device. Plus, Donald Trump gives a tell-all interview after being named Time's Person of the Year for the second time. So what's in store for his second term? The man who interviewed him is my guest next.